Hello and welcome back to another episode of GitPython Maintenance. This is Byron speaking and it's issue 350. Tom Prince. Again with a beautiful issue. It should be straightforward to isolate GitPython from a user system configuration. When automating part of a build or release process, the behavior should not depend on the local developer configuration. Thus, there should be a way to ignore that configuration. Once again, probably a valid point, but there's no information whatsoever on how to reproduce this, right? And the reason why you see this, we were waiting for feedback. Yeah, what do you actually mean? I had no idea. And then I realized, okay, the config reader is actually reading multiple files at once, merges them together. This is the same thing that Git does, right? With the system level configuration, the user configuration, and the repository configuration. And then, I was looking at the repository base, which has a config reader, which has a config level, which allows you to basically get a config reader to your liking. So, as you can see, this is used only once here in this repository code, but there might be other occasions when the configuration is used actively. And there are also other providers for specialized configuration. And to my big surprise, some of the config reader properties possibly do not support to choose which sources you want. So for instance, here the config reader allows you to specify a config level, right? And then you will get the particular level that you specified. However, with the remote, I think you have a config reader as well, which now is a property. So you have no way to specify what should be contained there. And where is that coming from, by the way? Yeah, so this would be a breaking change. And I guess the remote stuff would in any, it doesn't really matter. And I will have to verify that it truly only reads the repository configuration, which it should. But yeah, let's see where this is coming from. Okay, that seems to be a cached attribute. Yes, there we go. And then it gets it from its superclass. Okay. And it also caches its own attributes, so you can do something like remote origin and then URL, .url, .this, .that, and it will just fetch it from the configuration accordingly. All right, so here this happens. Here's the base class apparently, and there is the section constraint that gets a config reader from the repository. And I guess this should be repository only. Because yes, that is the only thing that should matter in this case. So I think this is one part where it happens. Let's look at the other occasions. I shall go back one time. So it's the remote. The head has it as well, but I think it's all the same under the hood. Then there is a submodule config reader. And again, the submodule will probably get the repositories config reader at some point. And you want to be sure, you want to be sure this is the one that only applies to the repository. And yeah, config parser is the one that we want to look at here. Repo parent commit, yeah. Submodule config parser. And, so the configuration here might be specific, huh? So does it call config reader anywhere? Only on itself? Is there a config writer? There it does it, but these are, the config writers don't matter, they're repository only. Makes sense. So maybe it's repo somewhere. No. Submodule root is another one. Config. Okay, so I think these are clear. So let's see if with that change my test will still work. And then this might be the fix that goes along with a comment that I shall write under this ticket. Yeah, I think mainly it's this you know, you don't usually get appreciation for the work you do on this project. And then if there are issues like this, where apparently there was no time or thought spent on the actual presentation of the issue, then I kind of feel, you know, even less appreciated. And this is, of course, something most people dislike. So Tom Prince kind of managed to to tickle that particular itch of mine by making 2 issues in short succession, which are providing valuable feedback, but in a way that well, shows there was no time spent at all. That's very sad. Anyway, at the end, I think it's a valuable contribution, because GitPython should be better now than it was before. So thank you, Tom Prince, for doing that. Yet I would be glad if you would think about the people who are supposed to help you with that and provide them with more information. I think I was lucky here. Good. Let's prepare a commit. It's just this tiny little issue. Fix remote. Assure configuration. Assure repository configuration is used. Assure only repository configuration is used. Previously, it was possible for it to pick up non-repository configuration, branch configuration. Yeah, it's unlikely that this made any difference, but it's possible, so let's not do it. Even though it was unlikely. Closes 350. There we go. And let's see what we have here. Yeah. Let's link the documentation. So that he will find that there is a resource he can use to figure these things out by himself. In case you are referring to the repo, I think it's like this, repo config reader. Oops, not like this. Like that. Method, you will find that there is an option to specify the sources included in the, well, configuration reader. Also, I made sure that the remote implementation has no way of picking up non-repository configuration files, which previously would have been a possibility. At least, if this doesn't solve your issue, please feel free to reopen it. or to leave a comment. Feel free to leave a comment telling me how exactly I can reproduce it. That is that. Cool. So did that work? That is interesting. So that I might have broken something here. Sometimes there's some flakiness, but I have the feeling that this can be reproduced each time. Oh no. That's good. Okay, so there is flakiness. Good. Yeah. So there is some, the system resource, the socket is taken and it takes a while to free it and stuff like that. So like that's a bit too high, but that should work. All right. Yeah. Okay, so it seems to work. Now I have to choose another port. I wonder if the daemon is still up. No, it's not. Fine. Cool. And flake 8 should be something I always run because that's really easy to get wrong. Cool. But that worked anyway. Nice. Let's push it. And we are done. So I shall acknowledge it at least, because that's the last thing I found out. There could have been an issue, even though I don't think it was. I believe that he probably just didn't see there is a way to specify which sources to use, and this is why I have this beautiful issue. Well, thanks for watching and have a great day.